You know, one of the things that I've seen repeating here, we've done 75 episodes here on Silicon Reel, and one thing I've started to hear more of lately, including something that Nicholas said from BlaBlaCar a couple months ago, was they're not in a big rush to get to the US. And I heard that from Dill here in London, and from Nutmeg, and there's a few of these companies that aren't in a rush. And I know with Nicholas, he's like, we're going to Turkey, we're going to Russia. Is that something is that a strategy that will get to the 20 billion? Are these anomalies, these companies, or is that a new European strategy?
Well, I think the way I look at it, I think is it really depends on the sector and the business. And there are some sectors like software, for example, where if you want to be a leader in software and you want to be a multi-billion-dollar company in software, you need to be a leader in the US. So you will need to be in the US market. I think the sooner you're there, the better. In other businesses, which are more consumer businesses, I mean, you need to look at the entire world, right? Where are the consumers? And you're seeing there are a lot of people in Europe and Russia, in Turkey. There are a lot of people in India and China, and there are a lot of people in South America. And so, getting to the example of BlaBlaCar is you look at their business, and you're looking at the US and say, well, the cost of driving in the US is lower than it is in Europe. And BlaBlaCar is a long-distance ride-sharing company, so it works very well when you have cities, when people can drive between cities that are between 100 and let's say 600 miles. And you look at all of Europe, you look at India, you look at Brazil. I mean, you have this configuration. Same for Russia. But you look at the US, and the US you have the East Coast where you could have a hub. You have the West Coast where you could have a hub, but still, it's very distributed on the West Coast. I mean, if you go from LA to San Francisco, for example, the last mile is really a problem, right? Because picking someone in Santa Monica is very different from in Huntington Beach, and it could be just 1 hour to get there. And then when you're in the Bay Area, are you going to San Jose or San Mateo or Oakland? And that's another hour on a trip, which is 4-hour drive, and therefore you have a lot of friction. So when you add this all up, you say, well, is the US the most attractive market for BlaBlaCar? Probably not. I mean, look at India. It's 1 billion people, probably a target market of at least 300-400 million who are connected people. It just feels like a more interesting opportunity. And I think if the service really works, in India and in Brazil, I mean, I think hopefully you can reach some of the valuations we talked about.
Right. This week on Silicon Reel, Charles Armstrong, founder and director of The Trampery.
Every building we do is a laboratory. You want to design things that increase the likelihood that two people are going to bump into each other. It's a very inexpensive way to actually help groups of people to achieve more. There were investment deals that got done. There were sponsorship deals that got done. Collaborations got seeded purely by unpredictable, serendipitous conversations. When you see an industry that's ripe for disruption, you want to get stuck in. Be optimistic. Be excited about the future.
Silicon Reel presents Charles Armstrong, The Trampery.
Go out and take risks.